You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on YouTube.com.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. so you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold? Medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey, Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves, and bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hey, sports fans, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. We've got a full slate to get you over Hump Day. Let's start with a great slate in spring training. Cardinals and Yankees in Tampa at 1, along with Pirates and Orioles in Sarasota, Nats and Tigers in Lakeland, Twins and Blue Jays in Dundon round out the Grapefruit League. Over in the Cactus League, it's Rockies at Angels, Rangers at Diamondbacks, Reds and Padres, all getting started about 3 p.m. Eastern, and 2 night tilts at 8:05. White Sox at the Royals in Surprise, Mariners at the Dodgers in Phoenix. The NBA's taken a back seat during March, but games of interest around the association tonight, 7:30 Eastern, Trailblazers at the Celtics, Hawks at the Wizards at 7 in D.C., while ESPN throws you a doubleheader of Mavs at Pelicans at 7:30, Raptors at the Clippers at 10. At 9 Eastern, the Bulls travel to Denver, and the Thunder are at the Suns. March Madness keeps rolling. Conference tournaments, the SEC gets it going in Nashville, Tennessee. 7 Eastern on SEC Network, Ole Miss versus South Carolina. And at 9, the Georgia Bulldogs will battle the LSU Tigers. Well, in the ACC tournament, Pittsburgh, North Carolina, and North Carolina State all get going. The Big 12 has their first round as well. Texas Tech versus West Virginia at 7. 9:30, it's Oklahoma State. Both games in Kansas City, Missouri. Mountain West action, their first round. 2 Eastern, Fresno State, Colorado State. 4:30, Air Force UNLV. And at 7, it's Wyoming versus Mexico. SWAC tournament quarterfinals, 3 Eastern on the plus, Bethune-Cookman and Grambling. Well, in the Pac-12 tourney gets going at 3 o'clock as well, Colorado versus Washington. The Big East gets rolling at 3 on FS1, Butler and St. John's in Madison Square Garden. 5:30, DePaul versus Seton Hall. And 8 o'clock, it's Georgetown versus Villanova. First round in the Big Ten tournament should be a good one to get it going. 6:30 Eastern on Big Ten Network in Chicago, Illinois. It's Ohio State versus the Wisconsin Badgers. Too many more to list. We'll keep you updated as the show rolls on. The TPC tee times have been announced. Here are some of the bigger names that'll be teeing off on Thursday. Colin Morikawa, 7:45 a.m., he'll hit the tees with Ricky Fowler and Adam Scott. Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, John Rahm, 7:56 a.m. Eastern. Justin Rose and Billy Horschel at 8:07. Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, 12:56 p.m. Keegan Bradley, Chris Kirk, Ryan Palmer all tee off at 1:18. We'll have wall-to-wall coverage all week right here on Braves Country. Pau Gasol, Kobe Bryant's right-hand man, was paid the best compliment possible by his former team. The Lakers retired his jersey, and it will hang in the rafters next to Kobe Bryant's. Wake Forest won their first ACC tournament game today with a buzzer beater against Syracuse, 3-point shot with 0.5 seconds left. Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck tips off 2:30 Eastern. We'll keep you up to date of all the scores as the Power 5 conferences roll on. And the New York Jets brass met with Aaron Rodgers in California. With a couple of salary-related roster moves by New York, signs are pointing to the Green Bay legend packing up and moving to the Big Apple. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Rum and Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pub. Really? This is what you're doing? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair. YouTube Live.
Radio station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. The interest bit the bit. I'm not really sure what happened there, but MLB The Show has your Atlanta Braves as the #1 team overall going into 2023.
Armchair.
Let's get it.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man. Yeah, the armchair.
Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? We have College basketball, wall to wall. Tomorrow, the TPC will get into some of their tee times, some interesting tee times on that one, as that will be live from Sawgrass, or for folks who are not familiar where that is, live from Jacksonville, Florida. And you've got the ACC tournament rolling this morning. Wake Forest got the big W. An unbelievable ending if you missed it. Wake Forest had a huge lead on Syracuse, and Syracuse came all the way back to tie the game. Then they took the lead. Then Wake Forest, this kid made an unbelievable 360 shot. I guarantee you it's going to be everybody's highlight the rest of the week. So don't worry. Trust me, you'll see it. He had an unbelievable 360 spinning jump shot in the lane to tie the game for Wake. Syracuse gets the ball back. They can't score. There's about 6 or 7 seconds left on the clock. And Wake Forest decides not to call the timeout. They decide to just roll with it. Appleby, the ACC's number one leading scorer, has the ball, and he kicks it out to his man wide open at 3-point range. Didn't need a 3, only needed 1. Bang! Hits the 3-pointer literally right at the buzzer. They ended up putting 0.5 back on the clock, and Wake Forest won the game. Unbelievable game. Your Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech in Hotlanta, GA, they are in the ACC tournament after a big win against Florida State yesterday, and they are currently playing. We'll get the score to you here in 1 second. They just went to commercial, and I want to make sure that I've got the accurate score on that. Then you've got Major League Baseball and what's going on with that. Well, today, the Atlanta Braves are playing the Dominican Republic team as the World Baseball Classic is getting ready. So they didn't have a real game, and they if you look at who the Braves put out there, it wasn't their normal roster. But Dominican Republic leads at 9-0, and you would expect that. These are the best of the best. We'll get into the box score here in 1 second. And last night we did the game, Braves versus Red Sox, here on Braves Country HD. And you're going to look at the score and see that Atlanta lost the game by a total of 7-2 was the original. Ended up being 10-2. 3 more runs put on in the 9th inning. And it was 7-2 heading into that. They started pulling all their starters around the 7th inning. And that's the bad part of it. The good part, if you want to take away from it, it's Jared Schuster, who's 24 years old, left-hander. He looked good. He looked really good. And he looked good enough to where you can understand now why Mueller was on the trading block, because they can lean on him on some starts later in the season if need be. 3 innings, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, no hits allowed, and no runs allowed. Eddie Chavez came in and got pounded, but I felt like he was just out there to throw fastballs. He didn't really do anything else. And once again, he moves lightning fast with this new pitch clock rule. And I don't know if you'll see him slow it down when the season begins or not. But he's a veteran. I kind of trust on what he's doing, and he'll get it figured out. But he did not look good last night. Vodnik got pounded again. Nick Anderson came in, gave up 2 earned runs. And the 2 earned runs that he gave up, I'll say half the pitches that Nick Anderson threw last night were impressive. The other half were could do a lot better. I'll tell you who did look good, Dylan Lee. Dylan Lee looked really good. I mean, really good. Elledge came in, wasn't too impressed by his outing, gave up 2 walks, but everyone's still working their way through it. But on the offensive side, and we'll get more into this in the second hour, because Justin Waller is going to be with us, and he's a big Braves fan. He just recently got Bally's, so he's excited to watch Braves games again. But the Braves, the guy who looked the best and did the most to make himself a roster spot, because obviously Ozzie Albies, Olsen, Riley, we know those guys are going to make the team. But let's talk about Kevin Pillar. Kevin Pillar had a mammoth 2-run shot. I will say that I was more impressed, and even though he only reached because of a walk, I was more impressed with Ozuna's at-bats last night, even though the production didn't come through. But Pillar, I think, is most definitely making the team. And a couple other guys that I'm starting to wonder. David O'Brien of The Athletic had the prediction of the roster, and I understood why he put Sam Hilliard there. Sam Hilliard defensively, that's all we heard in the offseason when the Braves got him from Colorado, was that he was a very good defensive outfielder. And you hope that you can get his bat turned around, because he hit something putrid. It was something like 171 last year in limited time in Colorado. I'm starting to think Hilliard's not going to make this team, because he defensively, he looked average at best last night. He misplayed a couple of balls. He did get one nice swing and a base hit that went over the right fielder's head, but he's not really going to be there for offense per se, because Eddie Rosario is going to be your starting left fielder. You're going to platoon a right-hander in. Right now, I'd be more willing to put Kevin Pillar in there before I would put Ozuna. But Ozuna's going to get his he's going to get his shots, because let's be honest, Ozuna is going to get opportunities because he's still owed, was it $36 million, somewhere in that neighborhood? I think it's actually 37 over the next 2 years. And everyone keeps saying just DFA him, just DFA him. That's easier said than done when you're the management and you say, okay, but if we DFA him, then who do we pay? And because we're going to be just over that threshold, we're going to actually be paying more than what we normally would because of the salary tax. I won't call it a salary cap. It's more of a salary tax. But all in all, I'm pleasantly surprised with some of the players that the Braves have brought into camp. I'm just not big on Hilliard right now. There's still a long way to go. We still have 3 weeks, and he still has an opportunity to make his mark. But you also wonder, if you read that article about him coming in, I wonder if we're going to end up with a backup infielder, because right now, other than Arcia, who's going to be playing quite a bit, I believe, they don't have a secondary backup infielder. So what happens if there's an injury, or even not an injury that would send you to the IL? What if someone gets banged up and can't play for 4 or 5 days? Is that going to have a trickle-down effect? And so you wonder if a guy like Hechavarria might have a chance to make this team. Because to me, it's much more, or even an Adrianza. And we know Adrianza has not done fantastic. He is hitting .385 this spring, only had one at bat last night, struck out. But he's a base runner. He can play multiple positions. He can even play outfield. And I'm and he's a switch hitter. And I know he's young and he could turn it around, but I think he is what he is at this point. But to me, I would rather have the ability to go to Adrianza on the bench for pinch running reasons, for giving an Ozzie or a Grissom or whoever a day off, because he can play just about, he can play. It's not realistic to have him in right field, but he can play left field. He can play all over the infield. I think I would rather have him than a Sam Hilliard at this point. Sam Hilliard is a light-hitting outfielder who was supposed to be this great defensive player. There was a play at the plate. He misplayed it, didn't even circle back like you normally would do as an outfielder to get your momentum going towards home plate. He let the ball play him. He didn't play the ball. It wasn't a hard hit ball, so he had plenty of time to get underneath it, but he misjudged it. There was another one that went in the gap between him and Michael Harris, and he was much closer to it than Harris was. And that one went over his head per se into the gap. So it looked like he misplayed that one as well. Hilliard, to me, is a guy that they may have missed out on him. They may have made a mistake. To me, Adrianza, now what may happen here, Adrianza may get sent down. It really depends on what they think the DFA market will be as well, because there's going to be other guys who are going to be released. And would Atlanta possibly make a move for one of them? But if you're looking at the roster we currently have, I'm leaning towards Adrianza and not Hilliard. And it's not because he's been with the team before and we know what he is. It's because of all the different tools that Adrianza brings to the table. So there you have that. And looking forward to the rest of the season, the spring training season. A week from Friday, we'll have it right here, Braves Country. We're going to be carrying Braves versus Red Sox, 1 p.m. It's an early start, 1:05 first pitch. And it's also St. Patty's Day. And so we'll have all that going on as well. And so let me go ahead and hit the break, and I got to get the link over to Brian. He can't figure out his email. So I will be back in a flash here on Braves Country as he joins us here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. Keep it locked in here on The Key.
Is that your thing? You come into a bar, you read some obscure passage, and then pretend you pawn it off as your own idea just to impress some girls? Embarrass my friend? See, the sad thing about a guy like you is in 50 years, you're going to start doing some thinking on your own, and you're going to come up with the fact that there are two certainties in life. One, don't do that. And two, you dropped $150 grand on an education you could have got for $1.50 in late charges at the public library.
Hey, Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves Baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves Baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there. Pulling no punches, calling it how I see it for all of Braves Country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves Country Baseball, first pitch to last pitch, all season long, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines two of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infinium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is hand-picked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to DixieHandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball. Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE.
I think you should retire.
Come on, Frank.
I'm sorry, but Maria's my wife. And if I can't support her in this, then she'll be like an ice pick in my ear until I die.
Technologically challenged would be the nicest way to put this. But we've got a big show in front of us here as the Braves, by the way, real quick, going to give you a score update on that. The Braves, real quick, against the. Let me go ahead and share the scoreboard screen. Excuse me. Playing the Dominican Republic today, and you can see right there down 9-0 in the bottom of the 8th. And I'm going to navigate over to their box score on my screen because it's a little difficult to get this in here. There he is. Let's go ahead and get Brian in here. But if you're looking for the box score, the funny thing is it's not on all the sites because a lot of the sites like ESPN and whatnot, they only carry the score when Major League Baseball teams are playing each other. So it kind of slipped through the cracks. So I know I saw a lot of people flipping out about it, going, where's the game even at? Can I even follow along on their, box score and whatnot? That is the issue. It took me a while to find it. Even when you go to MLB scores, you have to kind of navigate through. It's not where it normally is. Because normally my Brave score is at the very top because it's my favorite team, right? I had to navigate through, and it's like halfway down because they're playing a non-MLB team. And I think that also happens when you see some of these MLB teams come out and they play smaller colleges and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on. Welcoming on to the show is Mr. Brian Snow. Brian, how are you, sir?
Better because I'm talking sports with you, my friend. It's been a crazy afternoon, but I'm here.
Let me get that comment box out of the way so people can actually see you. You're in the car, everything okay?
Everything's good. Everything's real good.
You're not the wheelman for a heist, are you?
No.
Let us know if I
no.
or at least pivot the camera so we can see what's going on. Real quick, these are the people that actually played today in this game. Now, we did get some relievers in for Atlanta, but most of the other guys didn't play. Iglesias, Minter, Jimenez, they all played. Man, Jimenez got pounded.
Mm-hmm.
1/3 of an inning, 4 earned runs. But that Dominican team is loaded. Now, as far as everyday players, not a lot of them played. Orlando Arcia got some at-bats, and Darno got some at-bats, and Ozuna 0 for 3, which doesn't shock anybody. And I think that was about it. I don't see any of the other regulars. The Dominican team, Julio Rodriguez, Nelson Cruz, Rafael Devers, Manny Machado, Teoscar Hernandez, even I didn't even realize that Robinson Cano was still trying to play. Sanchez is catching. Mejia's the backup. So everyone gets the idea. This is a loaded team. Christian Javier started the day today for the Dominican, went 2 2/3. Contreras went 3 innings, and there you have that. So I know it's not an exciting update, but I did want to give folks an idea of what was going on with the Braves versus the Dominican Republic. On the other end, the Hoops, Georgia Tech trails Pittsburgh by 10. So that's not looking good right now.
Ouch.
Brian, did you get a chance to watch any of the early action March Madness today?
No, I've been running around like a crazy person, and I got unceremoniously kicked out of Culver's this afternoon while setting up for my afternoon show.
Okay, I gotta hear this. How'd you get kicked out of a Culver's?
It goes like this. I was setting up shop thinking I had clearance to do my show, and I was about 3.5 minutes from bringing on my first guest, and I had to cancel the show because my guests were going to come on early. And then as soon as I'm setting up and I'm taking a deep breath before I get ready to go.
Okay.
The manager comes out and he says, "What do you got going on here?" And he had this evil smile. And I'm like, okay, I know what's going on. So I packed up, and then he just starts his explanation of, yeah, we can't have you sitting up here without clearance. And I said, your other manager gave me clearance yesterday. Well, she's not here today, and I am. And I can't have this. You can't have what? I'm giving you free shouts. All I ask is for a meal in return. Nope.
Gotcha.
Not happening.
Well, drama. Nothing but drama. Real quick on the scoreboard update. St. John's leads Butler. That's the number 8 versus number 9 seed in the Big East tourney. And Pittsburgh 44-29 over the Ramblin' Wreck. I didn't figure Georgia Tech was had much of a chance of winning this second game. I thought the spread
Me
was
neither.
I talked about it yesterday. I was thinking about
Yeah.
taking Tech in the spread, but it was only 7 points. I'm like, we're talking about essentially 2.5 possessions. I'm not touching that. I hit my early parlay. It was a nail biter, but I hit my early parlay. I had Davidson, who won comfortably in their first game in the A10 tournament.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, if you're looking for the A10 tournament and you're like, where is it? Are they not televising? It's on the USA Network, which is a little peculiar. But
That's
Wake
weird.
Forest hit a 3-pointer essentially at the buzzer. They ended up putting 0.5 back on the clock.
Yeah, they beat Syracuse.
Right. Did you see the minute or so, the last minute of that game, how that played out? This kid for Wake Forest, and forgive me, I don't know his name. He was just a redheaded kid. That's all I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
He drove the lane. They were down to, this is after Wake Forest had a commanding lead. They had a commanding lead in the second half. I didn't turn it off, but I quit watching because I was prepping for the show, and they were the second part of my early parlay that I did. And I was like,
yep,
this is a bag. I'm not worried about it. All of a sudden I look over and I'm going, they're losing. They're down by 2. What is going on here? This kid does a 360 jump shot in the lane, maybe 5 to 8 feet out, that the other kid that was covering him just basically lost him. I'm telling you, it's going to be like the ESPN play of the day kind of thing.
Yeah.
And even the guy calling the game, the color analyst, Corey Alexander, I think is who it was. He even mentioned, he goes, I don't care what happens the rest of this game. This is going to be the play of the day because it was something you just never see. You see dunks and you see buzzer beaters. You never see a kid do a 360. It looked like something on a playground, right? But it went in. Syracuse got the ball back. They couldn't score. And instead of calling a timeout, Wake just ran it up. And Wake Forest is a leading scorer in the ACC. He kicked it out for the guy wide open on the perimeter, and he nails a 3. They didn't need a 3, but he nails a 3 with 0.5 left. It was a phenomenal game.
I love this time of year.
Isn't it great?
And the game I'm going to pay attention to is on Friday at the United Center, featuring my beloved Northwestern Wildcats. They'll get the winner of Illinois and Purdue, and they play tomorrow. And I believe it's a 5 p.m. tip-off. So Northwestern, being one of the top 4 seeds, already is into the quarterfinal. They get the double bye. And I can't wait to see my Cats get into the semifinal. If they get into the Big Ten semifinal like they did in 2017, then you may as well punch the ticket. Game, set, match.
Let me see if I can find that score. I want to say 6 Eastern is what I saw yesterday, because I was looking, because whenever you come on the show, I'm always looking to see when your teams are playing, right? And I want to say that you're right. It's like 5, 6 Eastern. That tournament gets rolling.
I want to say it's 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's are you on Central Time?
I'm on Eastern Time.
Okay, it's a 6:30 Eastern. Of course, that's a guesstimation because games before it, right? It will actually
right
at 6:30, because when I'm looking at the Big Ten tournament here, unless there's another one they slide in, it looks like Iowa's going to play at 2:30 Eastern, and then there will be a break until 6:30 Eastern. Wait a minute. That game just moved.
Yeah, we get the winner of Illinois and Penn State.
Okay, so that's Friday. Okay.
Yeah, that's Friday.
Okay, I thought you said
We win
Thursday.
Friday. We play in the semifinals Saturday. We win that. Then we go to the championship on Sunday.
6:30 Eastern, Big Ten Network, Northwestern versus TBD. So,
can you imagine if Northwestern gets to the championship game of the Big Ten on Sunday?
I probably won't be watching it because the SEC tournament will be going on.
True.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm pulling for your boys because I think it's a great story, but depending on what time it starts, it really dumbfounds me when you see now they might stagger it, but it seems like to me the past few years, Big Ten and SEC tournament have been going up against each other.
Yeah. And I think CBS will have them both.
Tonight,
I'm pretty sure CBS will have both the Big Ten championship and the SEC championship.
They used to, but the big question I see, and you can't go forward on the ESPN scoreboard because it just says no games on this date, but we know that there's going to be games. They used to do the CBS game. I would think SEC is still there, but I feel like that ABC, Disney, ESPN got involved with the SEC, so that may no longer be the case. They may have the rights to that game. I know the ACC.
Remember when ABC Sports was its own identity?
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
When Disney bought them all about 25 years ago. Slowly seeing, right? You start slowly seeing the trickle, and now all the time you'll see a game on ABC and it'll have the ESPN bottom line with ESPN on there.
That gets to me. That like shows me that Disney doesn't care about, I know they will acquire stuff, but not letting it be independent, if that makes any sense. Because until 2006, ABC Sports was its own entity. It was its own entity. And then when the mouse ears got involved, you start seeing the ESPN logo and the score bugs and the way ESPN games were fashioned all over the place. You saw it on ABC also. Only difference was they put the ABC logo at the bottom of the screen and the ESPN logo at the top of the screen.
Yeah, I can't even remember what they did this past year with the college football because I tend to not watch the college football ABC game of the week because it's usually terrible. I usually end up watching whatever's on ESPN because the SEC, they tend to put the SEC game on ESPN.
Yes.
They'll try to force you to think that the big game is ABC that night, but it won't be. It'll be like Texas Tech versus Oklahoma State, and they're like a battle for the Big 12 supremacy, and you're like, both these teams are 4-3. Like, what? Like, what are we talking about?
It's a bait and switch.
Yeah,
it's a bait and switch because the big games are usually in the SEC and they should be on Saturday night on ABC, but it's not.
I don't mind it because I'm not a huge fan of the ABC college football crew, so I don't really mind it. I don't have anything against Fowler and Herb Street, but I feel like they've gotten stale, and I don't know if they just need to mix them apart. But I think it has more to do with the fact that when I heard Herb Street this year try to do NFL, and you knew that he was just out of his realm, he didn't feel comfortable. Yeah. That carried over to me mentally when I would watch him do college. Now, I don't think he really changed his college style, but to me mentally, he was so stale on that broadcast with Al Michaels on Amazon that I have a hard time separating it. And then Fowler to me, when he quit hosting Game Day, he's kind of lost the pulse of the people, right? And I don't realistically, I'd rather he just do the game and not try to give me his opinions, if that makes sense.
I miss Chris Fowler hosting game day. I want to do a version of that online with you and a few others. Have our own version of game day and
we've been
get
doing
the
it for
fans' pulse of college football.
Well, we've been doing that on Saturdays for about almost a decade now. So you're more than welcome to join. If you got other guys that want to join, let me know.
I'd love to. I would absolutely love to be a part of your crew for your version of college game day. I'd love to be a part of it, and I'd also would love to make it a dual cast on my network as well.
Why
if
not?
you'll allow it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've
Sweet.
We've partnered with a couple of shows before, and then the logistics of everyone's schedule always got in the way, but absolutely we tend to do our show. We used to care about not going up against game day, and now we go right up against it because I'm like, man, I personally I can't watch game day. It's not what it used to be. It's usually a bunch of sappy
It's stale. Yeah, I'll use the word that you used earlier. It's stale. It's very stale.
They've got 3 hours, and at least an hour of it will be the player stories back. So they're all pre-recorded, and it's okay to do one of those, but to me, it's not okay to do your entire show that way. It's like every single kid on every single team that they interview had to walk 17 miles uphill in the snow. And I'm like, nah, just come on. What I care about is, are they going to cover the spread or not? That's all anybody cares about anymore.
Are they going to win the game, and are they going to cover? And are they going to cover the spread? Those are the two main things. Let's analyze the games. Let's analyze who does what, keys to the game, and we can easily get a driving sponsor for that, for our keys to the game. And I'd love to help. And I'd love to make it a dual cast.
Yeah,
then we can really let's go up against game day and take them down. Show them how it's supposed to go.
They're a conglomerate of Disney, but you can always carve your own niche. Absolutely. Yep. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about this nonsense going on in the NBA. There's two big stories going on, and they're really ridiculous if you think about it. Also, college basketball and a little bit of baseball. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. Hey, sports fans. The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.
Do you want to lose 18 pounds fast and improve your health? Now you can lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months with Nutrisystem. Get delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners, even snacks and shakes delivered safely to your door. All delivered for free. It's easy to follow, and you'll see results in your first week. You'll get your favorite foods made healthier and perfectly balanced to put your body in fat-burning mode. Millions of people have lost weight with Nutrisystem, and you can too. Lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. So much, I'm going to have to speed things up. You can get the Farmers Signal app, and that could get you up to 15% off your auto policy. That's just for using the app and driving like the normal speed limited hearing, full stop making lane change signaling human being you are. Get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. Start with a quote by calling 1-800-FARMERS.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Are you an adult?
Yeah.
And do you have a lot going on in your life?
I am so busy.
Introducing fantasy football.
What's that?
Move aside job and relationships. You're now the general manager of a football team, and that takes a lot of time and effort.
I really shouldn't be doing this. It's not good for me.
With fantasy football, you can spend hours researching useless stats, have your underlying anger issues revealed on Sundays, and Venmo people hundreds of dollars with a football emoji.
Well, I'll get that money back when I win the championship.
You say that every year.
Okay, this year is different. I have been so unlucky in the past.
Why would you need to know about world news or how a Roth IRA works when you could know who the Saints wide receiver 3 is?
Chris Olave. But I think he'll be the number 1 by the end of the year because Michael Thomas.
Shut up.
I used to think fantasy football was fun, but it's not fun anymore. I have a lot riding on this emotionally.
Try it today.
Armchair.
Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE. Welcome back. What a story this is coming in. My word. Ole Miss, officially, their soul is for sale. CBS Sports HQ is breaking that Chris Beard is the leading candidate for the Ole Miss head coaching job. And if people aren't familiar with who Chris Beard is, he is the Texas Longhorns basketball coach that was recently fired for domestic violence. I want to say back in February. Yeah, yes, it was February. How about that? They said, damn the torpedo.
Yeah, how about that?
Head. Unbelievable. Like they really don't care about PR. Give us Lane Kiffin, give us Chris Beard, let's go.
They don't care about PR, man. They don't care about getting the best. They don't care about getting the best candidate for the job, and they just go with whoever could give them the splash.
What they ought to do is go out and hire Trevor Bauer as their new baseball coach. Really mix it up.
Oh, Lord. That would be a mix-up. Big time.
Braves Country right here on 99.1 FM. The Key. Brian Snow with me. You can hear his show daily 5 p.m. Eastern time. And Brian, where can they hear you or see you as far as social media goes?
YouTube.com/@Snowman Multimedia. Snowman Multimedia is the ID to get to me and get to all my programming.
We've got, let me see, Fresno State is trailing Colorado State 62-59. There's 3 minutes and change left in that one. George Mason is now tied with Richmond 43 apiece. Let me get back over to the I'm over here in the weeds on Sunday afternoon scores because of what we were talking about earlier. Georgia Tech trails by 13 at the half to Pittsburgh in the ACC. Bethune-Cookman down 20 to Grambling.
Ouch.
That is in the that is at halftime. I think I took them as a wild part of a parlay. I took Bethune-Cookman and I don't see. They looked impressive the last couple of games. Yeah, that's not going to cover it. I'm going to need some regression in the second half. I'm getting 15.5 with Bethune-Cookman.
Right.
Colorado 23-12 over Washington. That's just getting going in the Pac-12. By the way, as far as I know, you can't see the Pac-12 tournaments. It's on Pac-12 Network.
Yeah.
No idea.
Unless you have cable, and a lot of people are starting to cut the cord. Unless you could find a tricky way to stream it, because Pac-12 Network doesn't have or doesn't try to allow any streaming unless you sign up and pay for their services. So good luck.
Yeah, I don't have enough interest to do all that nonsense. They're not even a part of the ESPN Plus family. I thought that's
right.
I thought that's where I would get it at. And not the case, not the case at all. Butler, by the way, getting pounded by St. John's. That is 42-25. and they
Ouch.
are about 90 seconds from halftime. So that's your scoreboard update. A bunch of games tonight. You got the Big Ten conference tournament starts tonight. Ohio State, Wisconsin at 6:30, and then Minnesota, Nebraska at 9. And then you've
Who'd
got the
have thought Ohio State and Wisconsin would be an opening round game of the Big Ten tournament? Normally, they would be already in the quarterfinals.
And I'll tell you something else that surprises me about this. I don't understand this. Ohio State is a 2-point favorite.
How?
You got me. Wisconsin's
How,
not that bad of a
how
team.
the heck are they? How the heck are they a 2-point favorite? That's crazy.
Wisconsin's 9-11 in Big Ten play. They're 17-13 overall. So they're solid, right? Ohio State is 13-18, 5-15 in the Big Ten. I had to double check this, and I even looked up the injury report, and I don't see anything glaring that jumped out at me. So I really don't understand that line. It seems a little skewed, but I don't know if there's something that I'm missing. I thought maybe you might know something, but
I don't know a thing. I don't see any major injuries. What I can tell you is that both of those teams have been wildly inconsistent. Wildly inconsistent. Wisconsin, especially defensively, because lately you don't see Wisconsin giving up. If you think about how they used to play, you don't see Wisconsin giving up like 70 points a game.
Right.
And that's about where they're at coming into the tournament.
It really is hard to believe that I'm going to double check real quick because I want to make sure that something late hasn't come in on this. Let me see here. Where's the actual injury part of this? Well, they've screwed this up. I'll find it in a minute. But yeah, I'm a little surprised by that line. And what was the other game? See, Oklahoma State is only a 1-point favorite. I feel like they should be a significant favorite.
Only a 1? Oh my God. Who wrote these spreads?
You got me.
Who came up? Who decided that Oklahoma State's only a 1-point favorite?
I'm thinking it's an Oklahoma grad.
I'm thinking that too.
Let me see. I'm looking up Wisconsin real quick. Man, I found a page that has every single team injury in college basketball. There's over 300 teams. Takes a while to get down to Wisconsin is my point.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Jeez Louise. The only injury is the injury to Jacoby Heath, but that happened late December. So I don't know. I have no idea why they're that big of an underdog. I mean, that's why they're an underdog, period.
Like I said, who writes this stuff?
And the games in Chicago, it's not like someone's got some kind of home court advantage.
Well, actually, this year, the home court advantage would go to Northwestern because they're up in Evanston. They're not far away.
Enough with Northwestern. They're not playing in this game. I'm talking about Ohio State, Wisconsin.
I know that. I know that. But
not Northwestern. Here's another thing. I just pulled up the scores from this year. Wisconsin beat Ohio State in Columbus. So
yes.
I don't get it.
Well, there's no significant home court advantage in the Big Ten anymore. No one's afraid to play on the road. In essence, except for Minnesota, no one's afraid to play on the road.
That's just hard to believe that. Anyways, moving on from that, you got the ACC tournament tonight. Moving on, and doesn't look like Georgia Tech's going to be a part of that as they're trailing by 13 at the half. But What you do have in the ACC tournament, you got some interesting games tonight. North Carolina, they're an 11.5 point favorite versus Boston College. They should get the win, but I feel like Carolina's got to at least get to the ACC championship game because of the way they finished their season.
North Carolina needs to win the darn thing.
I mean, that's the safest way in. They're 11-9 in conference play. They're 19-12 overall. Lenardi right now has them as one.
It's not a bad season. Well, if you talk to Carolina fans, it is a bad season, but 19-12 is not a bad season. I mean, we've seen Roy Williams coach teams have double-digit losses before, and they got in the tournament. But this North Carolina team that's been, and I said it earlier in the show about Wisconsin, wildly inconsistent. Armando Bacot's being touted as the ACC Player of the Year. He's their candidate. But with North Carolina, they not only have to get to the championship game, they have to win the darn thing if they want to see the tournament again.
And I wouldn't put it past them because the ACC's a little down this year, but that's a tall task because they're going to have to play tonight, Thursday, Friday. They're going to have to win 3 games in a row just to get to the ACC final. I believe if they get to the ACC final, as long as they're not playing like a really low seed and look bad, right? I think that probably gets Carolina in, but they're going to be in a mess if they lose. I don't think they're going to lose tonight, but let's say they turn around and they lose tomorrow. Or they get past. See, they are game 6, so they are going to play. So the winner of the Carolina game tonight plays Virginia tomorrow.
Oh, boy.
Oof.
Oh, boy.
Now, they blew out Virginia on their home floor in Chapel Hill a few weeks ago. I watched that game, kicking and cussing because like Virginia in the points, and they did not show.
No.
They can get that game, but that's going to be a tough one. And if they win that game, it would be.
And they get to Saturday.
Number 10, Friday night's game would be number 10 versus. They would get the winner of Miami Wake Forest. Oof. And Miami's
it's a possibility they could see Wake. It's a possibility they could see Wake Forest again.
They probably want to play Miami because it would help their resume. If they win tonight and they beat Virginia, and then let's say Miami beats Wake Forest and they beat Miami, that would be 2 pretty impressive wins this week. And then you get to the finals, and you're talking about the other side of the bracket, the teams over the other side of the bracket. Mainly it's Duke and Clemson are the top 2 teams over there. Now, what I'm hoping for, just from a basketball fan, bystander type thing, I want to see a Duke Carolina ACC final. That'd be fun. But
I'd love to see a Duke Carolina ACC final also, but both teams have to get there.
Yeah, and I just don't know if Carolina's going to have, because the problem is if Carolina wins tonight and they win tomorrow, Miami will be a fresh team. And what is that game? Oh, let me see. That game. Oh, they get no breaks on this. So they will be the late game on Friday night. Which, not terrible because you get some rest from the 7:00 tip-off from tomorrow night.
Right.
Miami plays Thursday at noon, and then they get a day and a half off before they have to get back on the court. So it's almost like having a day off. So that is going to be a tall task for the Tar Heels. Let's take Northwestern out of the picture. Let's say they don't win it. Who would be your second pick to win the Big Ten tourney?
Illinois.
Okay.
Illinois would be Illinois would be my second pick. My third pick would be Purdue.
So I've gotten to watch a lot of Purdue games, and I'm pulling for them because I like their style of play. I love teams the defense and rebound. Man, they just seem like a team that can. They're very Virginia-like. They seem like a team that can be got because they don't have the scoring.
Right.
A team who I like to possibly make a run.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play today. They play. Is it tomorrow? And then you've got Northwestern has just because of the coach, and they seem to get better and better and better every year. I like Michigan State.
Yep.
I'm pulling for Purdue.
I had a chance to meet Tom Izzo sometime back at the Big Ten basketball luncheon, an event I hope to make again when my company takes off. But it was fun meeting him and the coaches and doing interviews with them. I plan to cover next year the ACC, the Big Ten, and hopefully the Pac-12 and the SEC, and just fly out to luncheons with Jody and take coaches' comments and just go. You know, I'm hoping to do that next year.
All right, Brian. We got to head out. It's the top of the hour. Justin's about to jump on, but what do you got going on the Snowman Show tonight?
Well, it's Bronze Sexual Wednesday. That means Cole and I are going to have some fun during hour 2. Hour 1, we'll touch on a little bit more of John Morant and the normal Wednesday shenanigans.
Yeah, we didn't get into that, but NBA's got to step in and do something. That's all I'm going to say. Because if they don't, the kid's going to end up in big time trouble, and it's going to ruin his life.
I will discuss more on that tomorrow, but today you'll hear a replay of the Brian Snow Show at 5, and then you'll hear today's Snowman in the Morning at 6 p.m. on the Key, 99.1 FM WQEE. And thanks to the folks there for picking up the program.
All right, brother. We will see you next Wednesday, and try to stay out of those Culver fights.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. We've got a full slate to get you over Hump Day. Let's start with a great slate in spring training. Cardinals and Yankees in Tampa at 1, along with Pirates and Orioles in Sarasota, Nats and Tigers in Lakeland, Twins and Blue Jays in Dundon round out the Grapefruit League. Over in the Cactus League, it's Rockies at Angels, Rangers at Diamondbacks, Reds and Padres, all getting started about 3 p.m. Eastern. And 2 night tilts at 8:05. White Sox at the Royals in Surprise, Mariners at the Dodgers in Phoenix. The NBA's taken a back seat during March, but games of interest around the association tonight. 7:30 Eastern, Trailblazers at the Celtics, Hawks at the Wizards at 7 in D.C., while ESPN throws you a doubleheader of Mavs at Pelicans at 7:30, Raptors at the Clippers at 10. At 9 Eastern, the Bulls travel to Denver, and the Thunder are at the Suns. March Madness keeps rolling. Conference tournaments, the SEC gets it going in Nashville, Tennessee. 7 Eastern on SEC Network, Ole Miss versus South Carolina. And at 9, the Georgia Bulldogs will battle the LSU Tigers. Well, in the ACC tournament, Pittsburgh, North Carolina, and North Carolina State all get going. The Big 12 has their first round as well. Texas Tech versus West Virginia at 7. 9:30, it's Oklahoma State. Both games in Kansas City, Missouri. Mountain West action, their first round. 2 Eastern, Fresno State, Colorado State. 4:30, Air Force UNLV. And at 7, it's Wyoming versus Mexico. SWAC tournament quarterfinals, 3 Eastern on the plus, Bethune-Cookman and Grambling. Well, in the Pac-12 tourney gets going at 3 o'clock as well, Colorado versus Washington. The Big East gets rolling at 3 on FS1, Butler and St. John's in Madison Square Garden. 5:30, DePaul versus Seton Hall. And 8 o'clock, it's Georgetown versus Villanova. First round in the Big Ten tournament should be a good one to get it going. 6:30 Eastern on Big Ten Network in Chicago, Illinois. It's Ohio State versus the Wisconsin Badgers. Too many more to list. We'll keep you updated as the show rolls on. The TPC tee times have been announced. Here are some of the bigger names that'll be teeing off on Thursday. Colin Marikawa, 7:45 a.m. He'll hit the tees with Ricky Fowler and Adam Scott. Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, John Rahm, 7:56 a.m. Eastern. Justin Rose and Billy Horschel at 8:07. Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, 12:56 p.m. Keegan Bradley, Chris Kirk, Ryan Palmer all tee off at 1:18. We'll have wall-to-wall coverage all week right here on Braves Country. Pau Gasol, Kobe Bryant's right-hand man, was paid the best compliment possible by his former team. The Lakers retired his jersey, and it will hang in the rafters next to Kobe Bryant's. Wake Forest won their first ACC tournament game today with a buzzer beater against Syracuse, 3-point shot with 0.5 seconds left. Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck tips off 2:30 Eastern. We'll keep you up to date of all the scores as the Power 5 conferences roll on. And the New York Jets brass met with Aaron Rodgers in California. With a couple of salary-related roster moves by New York, signs are pointing to the Green Bay legend packing up and moving to the Big Apple. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines two of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infinium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
Friday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day with Braves Country. The Atlanta Braves are in Fort Myers, Florida to take on the Boston Red Sox. Braves Country Baseball right here on the Key, giving you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. That's Friday, March 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern, St. Patty's Day, Braves Country on WQEE.
No matter what technical data they've obtained, this station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. It is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Are you listening?
Welcome back. Waller McGee taking you all the way to the top of the hour where the snowman will take over. Against CDP from 8 to 9 and 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Get your morning started right. Rhino Radio Penitentiary, followed by the Rod Peterson Show noon to 2. And Sports Beat 2 to 3. We come live 3 to 5 every day here on the Justin Waller, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Mac. Man, I tell you what, looks like only one team wants to play football in the NFC South this year, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Saints just got a lot better. Anybody else wanting to play ball?
well, Derek Carr and the Saints, I'm assuming, is the team that you're talking about, right?
Oh, absolutely. The Saints just got a lot better, and you got to be sitting there, the rest of the division, scratching your head, asking how you're going to respond to that.
Sorry, your audio is a little difficult to make out. I don't know if your window's down or something. You know, one of the things that I found interesting, and someone else brought this up this morning, is that as soon as the tag was put on Lamar Jackson and he was able to start talking to folks, right? And he can go out and basically shop his own deal, right? And then at that point, the Ravens can either match it or they can seek compensation. And I didn't realize it was going on at the time because we were live on the show, and then the guys were bringing it up to me because I've been talking about Lamar Jackson and the Falcons for a couple of weeks now. They said that the Falcons immediately, there were folks saying that they had no interest. Well, what was being left out of that conversation was there were multiple teams coming and saying that they do not want anything to do with Lamar Jackson and signing him. And at first I thought maybe the Falcons were just posturing, but now I'm starting to wonder, I don't know if it's a blackball situation, but it's more of a thing of, if he's telling everybody that he wants a guaranteed deal like the way Deshaun Watson has or got, then maybe the whole thing is to the point where he's kind of alienating other folks. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely putting that out there. If you want a guaranteed contract, and you have the questions of could you or should you have played at the end of the season while you're still negotiating for your future, it's hard to pay that guaranteed question when you just come off a season and left that kind of questions at the end of your team's run, is it not?
Yeah, I would tend to think that so the Falcons came out and said they didn't want him. Dolphins came out and said they didn't want him. The Redskins or Washington football team or Commanders said that they didn't want him. There was 3 or 4 other teams that came out there. I don't have the list in front of me. They all went bam, 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 bam. It was trickling in. I started seeing it all throughout Twitter. There was like a total, I'd say about 7 to 10 teams, somewhere in that neighborhood, said that they are not in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. And what this comes down to me is this. By the way, Georgia Tech has come rambling back, and they are down just 4. It was tied a second ago, and they're actually down 1. They just nailed a 3. So 10 minutes to go, and the Yellow Jackets have a fighting chance against Pittsburgh over here. But the thing that I'm looking at with this is he's got to get an agent, man. He's got to get an agent. At this point, this is just absolutely absurd.
If not, you're just completely costing yourself money with your asks, and you're letting emotions get in the way of your business decision. And I think that's why you spend the money with your agent. You got to separate yourself, and hey, that's money well spent. He's going to get you more than you would have gotten yourself, because you're essentially alienate yourself from any future employer throughout this negotiation you're presenting right now.
Yeah, if he doesn't go out and get an agent, what he's doing is he doesn't have someone out there defending him, because you can't defend yourself. If you're out there defending yourself, you sound and look like a jackass, right? You have to. This is a part of the agent's job. The part of the agent's job is to go out there and say, "This is why you want Lamar. This is why." You can't do that yourself. You can't have your mom doing it either. You have to be out there, and you have to have an agent, and the agent has to go to bat for you every single day and say, "Look." The agents are also usually very, very equipped to play the game, and there's a game that goes on. There's a game that goes, "Hey, we're getting offers, and you better make a decision quick." He doesn't have the ability to do that. And to me, the whole thing, he's been misguided by his family. They've been telling him to basically try to get every dime they can. Don't pay an agent. You don't need an agent. You know what I mean? Well, obviously you do need an agent, because if you didn't need an agent, you would have something by now.
And you would have, your franchise tag would be exclusive. It wouldn't be open-ended to where teams can come and make you offers. That's telling you that the team you're negotiating with isn't even fully committed themselves. They left it open for you.
Yeah, it's an absolute disaster. It's embarrassing for both sides, and I think the Ravens at this point just want. They're kind of like the Packers with Rodgers. They just want to be done. They want to turn the page, get new blood in there. I don't know if you're going to give Lamar Jackson a huge contract, guaranteed money, and cough up number 1 picks, right? You just why would anyone do that? A guy who hasn't been able to finish the season the last 2 years. And I don't normally attack Lamar Jackson because he's one of my favorite players. I love watching him play. And I would love to see him in Atlanta. I think it would be phenomenal. It would be fun to be able to pull for him because I don't pull for him because he plays for Baltimore, right? But man, facts are facts. You haven't finished the season the last two years. Most believe that he could have played this past year down the stretch. Had he played, they probably beat Cincinnati on that Sunday night. So at this point, I don't know what can be done to help this, but man, someone's got to step in, and he can't be leaning on mommy.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to just put your pride to the side, and you said it best. You need to hire an agent. Somebody's got to get in his ear, and that sphere of influence, there's got to be someone that can influence him to go get himself an agent and get yourself a deal while you're at the prime time of your life. You have no deal.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, Justin. He needs Scott Boras. He needs Scott Boras in his life. And I hate that guy. But at this point, what are they doing? Unbelievable. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Hit a little home that you might be a little more. I'm hoping that you have a pulse on this. So I'm getting all these rumors, and they're rumors because the outlets that are creating this content, none of them are verified. But they're talking about Derrick Henry, and possibly Simmons both getting traded in the offseason and the Titans doing a complete rebuild. Is that something Vrabel is willing to do?
I don't know. I would have told you no on the Simmons front. But there's apparently something going on because the players wiped his social media of anything that has any ties to the Tennessee Titans. So that's an unusual cleaning of your social media feed for your star defensive lineman. But
did Derrick Henry as well?
I do not know. I have not heard that. But the Henry one was a shopping. I mean, they've been out and open at the combine. They floated the idea out and shopped it, just put feelers out. And listen, I know this isn't favorable among the Titans fan base. This isn't favorable among friends and family, but it still doesn't mean it's not the truth. you should be shopping him right now when you have value. What do we know about NFL running backs once they get paid that next big contract? The production falls off. You've got a complete rebuild on the offensive line, and you don't have a quarterback that can, or a wide receiver, even if you did have a quarterback, that could stretch a defense to open up to get 8-9 people from stacking the box to where Henry can run free. So maybe you do trade him and get some value and plug some of them holes. But the Simmons one was a head scratcher. I would really hate to see that, but honestly, I'm 50-50. I'm not opposed for getting value out of Henry right now where you can. You look, and you've got one more year in his contract, and you've got to address your quarterback situation coming up. So if they don't strike gold and hit it right in this year's draft and grab a young quarterback, then you're laying it all on the table that you're going to do the same next year, or you've got to go pony up and get a free agent or propose a trade, someone that you can bring in that how you going to pay them both?
Well, see if I can pull this up so that you can see it as well.
Are you opposed to the Henry trade? I mean, what's your honest? Would you not? Would you get value?
Okay, so the problem is I'm a huge Derrick Henry fan, so I probably can't answer that, honestly. I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it. I don't know if I can be honest and say my gut feeling is no, go down with the ship. Come on, let's build with Derrick Henry. But that's just because I'm a huge fan, right? I don't know if I kind of align with you as far as it does make sense. But here is what I just found on Derrick Henry. And I wanted to share it so that you can see it as well. This is Derrick Henry's Twitter page. There's no Titans anymore. There used to be. This picture here just shows a king, right? He's not in a Titan uniform. It's been cropped out. And then if you go into his profile picture, that's like an Under Armour jersey or something. That's like back when he was in high school. I think that's like an all-American high school game. So that tells me that there's some smoke there.
Oh, there's definitely smoke on the Henry front. I don't know how much on the Simmons. But what are you looking for? To cough up something like that, what are you looking for? And then you have to just be scratching your head if you don't knock a home run with this. Because the last trade that this organization made, let's face it, it cost the general manager his job, and rightfully so. The trading of A.J. Brown was there was a lot of things that were looked past and failures that were put up with. But when A.J. put it on them and they played that Eagles game, that was the day that packed a suitcase for John Robinson. You trade away Simmons and Henry, you better get a haul in return, or you better have enough draft picks for the future that you can go build you an all-Madden collegiate team that hopefully turns into a Super Bowl winning team by the time their contracts come up.
I don't know if Jeffrey Simmons even has a Twitter page, because I just looked him up on Twitter and I don't see one. So there's that going on. Did he shut it down? Did he said, no, I'm looking at it and I don't see anything verified on Jeffrey Simmons on Twitter. So that tells me that either A, he had a page and he shut it down, or B, he just never had a page. He only does stuff like, Instagram or whatnot. No, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk some chop. Atlanta Braves are just 3 weeks away from the opening day, and we got a lot of questions that we got to answer. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country HD, wherever you stream.
I mean, it's not easy being me. When I was born, the doctor told my mother I did all I could, but he pulled through anyway.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Screen pass to Trayshawn DeAndre on the right side. Touchdown! But wait a second. I think there's a flag on the play.
All right, you guys got holding on number 97, right?
Yeah, definitely holding. No touchdown.
All right, make the call.
Yeah, I mean, it was holding.
So make the call.
Or, we say the flag was for an excessive celebration so they can keep the touchdown and apply the penalty to the kickoff, huh? What do you say?
What are you talking about? I didn't see excessive celebration.
You sure? Could have sworn I saw a little nay-nay going on.
What's going on with you, man?
All right, look, guys, I got to be real with you. Trayshawn DeAndre just scored that touchdown. Okay, I have him on my fantasy team this week. I need these points.
What? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you, Bill. I'm playing against my father-in-law this week, and if he doesn't score this touchdown, I lose.
Well, I'm not going to let you make a bad call because you're in some fantasy football league.
Make the call.
Craig, no. If you make one bad call...
This works out perfectly, Bill. I started the quarterback who threw the touchdown pass. We're going to have to ignore the holding call.
I have the kicker, and I was kind of hoping that he wouldn't convert on third down, so he'd have to kick the field goal.
Armchair. Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Learn more at sunny.org.
You know, the great thing about being football players, you don't have to take a shower to go to work.
You're listening to Braves Country, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Well, if you stand and block the screen, you may just lose your life. And that goes for all 30 friends and 30 friends' wives. Because he's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks.
Welcome back. As we are going to get into some Braves talk. So you finally broke down and went ahead and got the Valley Sports, huh?
They got me. I gave in. I caved. While sick last week, had to just couldn't take it anymore.
It only took them 4 years to break your spirit.
Well, it's the first time I've had a streaming service that actually allowed the product. And it's also the same year that they finally allowed the a la carte mode, which just after looking and comparing the two, I went with the streaming plan. And hey, I'm just glad to finally have it back. It's nice to see a lot of the regional programming that I have missed for the past 4 years. Yeah, 4, maybe 5.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It's tough the way they have it set up right now to go a la carte. If they ever get to the point, me and my wife have talked about it, because when she asks how much we pay for the service, I tell her, I say, the problem is I don't watch a lot of the stuff except for the live sports. And the problem is I need ESPN to be able to watch most college basketball, college football, and more and more now they're doing college baseball and softball, right? So basically all my college sports, ESPN essentially owns it. And if you go out and get the plus, for people who think they're going to get some loophole, no, it's got to be linked to the plus is linked to your streaming service. So when you go in to try to watch a live game, they're going to say, oh, okay, you want to watch it because you got ESPN Plus? That's great. Who are you affiliated with? Is it YouTube? Is it Comcast? Whatever it is, right? If ESPN ever comes to the point where they go a la carte, then I can probably do it. But until they do, I'm basically paying extra for a bunch of junk I don't watch. Now, look, I know a lot of other people who are probably paying for ESPN when they don't watch it, right? But I don't care about them. Because I feel like most people nowadays, if they're not sports fans, they don't have Hulu Live or Fubo or YouTube TV, because, like, for instance, if I kick the bucket tomorrow, my wife's not going to watch any of that stuff. She watches Netflix. She watches all the other junk, all the a la cartes. So I am getting rid of YouTube TV at the end of the month. I didn't want to switch streams in the middle of March Madness. I'm like, dude, something's going to be missing that I'm not aware of. It's going to tick me off. Let me get through the Sweet 16, and then I'll go from there. So that's essentially where it's going, and that's going to take me right before opening day. And by opening day, I want to have access to MLB Network, which you joined Fubo as well, right?
Dude, you just made my heart sink. I didn't even think about the channels that they do for March Madness and my switch and my timing. Like, I may have just shot myself in the foot. Might need your login, buddy.
Well, you should have, if you got Fubo, you should have.
I don't know if it has all the Turner channels that
I don't even know if I have all. You're talking about those weird channels.
Yeah, like how they'll
I don't even know
them
if
on
I
the
have
different.
those, to be honest. I was thinking more of like ESPN tournaments going on. Oh man, that's a good point. I have no earthly idea if I even have what are those things even called? True TV and all that stuff that they put them on. I would think if CBS is there, then you have it. But man, that's a good question, because I don't even know if I have that.
That will be the first thing I look up when I get home this evening. I promise you that.
But I know I get TNT. And I think TBS is the other main one. I think the only thing you miss out if you don't have that, the weird channels, I think that's only like the preliminary rounds, like the ones, the playing games. They might be present on that Thursday and Friday, but by the weekend it's probably all on. I know they try to have it mostly on CBS, TNT, and TBS, because that's where they have Charles Barkley and all those guys doing the in-studio stuff. Georgia Tech update. They're down by 9, 3.5 minutes left. They had a valiant effort. They really came roaring back. Now, if you took this game, the number you're looking at is 7. You want them to be within 7. And they just hit a bucket to be within 7. So that was the line as far as I know at the beginning of the game. SEC tournament starts tonight. Georgia LSU is the big game in this area. I got a feeling that LSU is going to get that W. LSU's been playing a little better basketball than Georgia. Big picture, the Vols, they play Thursday. Do you have any idea which game that they're getting the winner of?
One, the South Carolina game, if I'm not mistaken. First game, South Carolina, and somebody correct.
South Carolina, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah. They get the winner of that game.
Oh, speaking of that, did you see this thing with Ole Miss that Chris Beard has become the favorite to land the Ole Miss job? That's the dude that got the domestic violence charge on him in February and got fired from Texas, and Ole Miss is already turning around and talking about hiring him. Isn't that wild? I was saying last hour that, like, man, the Ole Miss's soul is for sale. I mean, they went and got Kiffin. They're talking about Beard. I don't know why they don't hire Trevor Bauer to be their next baseball coach. I mean, come on, let's go. It's all about them dubs, man.
Get Bruce Pearl over there,
He's probably got
some weapons.
Trevor Bauer's probably got some eligibility left. Get him an NIL deal. I'd watch it.
Oh man, I'd like to see the sport book odds on NIL deals for Trevor Bauer.
So let's talk some chop. The Braves last night, Red Sox Braves. I did the game. The score never really matters. We lost 10-2, but you know how those don't really matter in spring training. My thing is always, I just don't want them to. I don't want to see them with like 2 wins and 28 losses, because then you're like, what the hell? But what I took positive out of this game, and I know a lot of folks didn't get a chance to see it because it wasn't on the Bally or any of that stuff. They're not doing many spring training games. What I took from it, Jared Schuster looked really good. Now, he's not going to supplant anyone out of the rotation, but I'm talking about you usually need around 11 or 12 pitchers to get through a major league season, right? Because of injuries and whatnot. And he looks like a guy that they're going to be able to call on to come up to the bigs and fill in a time or two. And it made Kyle Muller expendable. Listen to his line. 3 innings last night, no hits, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. And it was an impressive, when you're sitting there doing the game, you're watching the game, sometimes you see a guy and you're like, I don't know, man. He went 2 or 3 innings, but I'm telling you right now, he was up there throwing tomatoes. No, he was throwing BBs. And I mean, I was really impressed by him. It's looking right now, according to David O'Brien of The Athletic, that Ian Anderson is probably going to get that number 5 spot because another setback with Soroka, and they don't think he's going to be ready for opening week or whatever. And there was another article that I saw last night that said that they may just take his time with him long term and make sure that when he finally does come back, that he's healthy and there's not going to be any setbacks, right? Because they're already talking about an inning limit with him. And I'm like, my God, he's 3 years removed from that torn Achilles. What are we talking about, an innings limit? But that's the word on the street. Anderson 1 and Elder 1A for the number 5 gig. Anderson looked really good against the Yankees this past Sunday. He looked terrible the outing before, but a much needed big time outing. I think he went 2 innings and 3 or 4 strikeouts. Ended up giving up a few earned runs, but that was awful defense. They had like 3 errors in the 2 innings he pitched. But if you take that out, he looked pretty good.
I'd like to see them shut Soroka down, and let's just don't talk about it until the kid's fully healthy. I mean, let's just stop.
It seems like he ought to be 38 years old. I think he's 25. But
I'm really starting to worry in my head, like, is he going to ever make it back? Because we're just setback after setback after setback. But let's just take it slow, shut him down. Let's get him out there by Memorial Day. I mean, that's my new time frame. Let's be safe. Let's have.
We talked about something several weeks back. We were talking fantasy baseball, by the way. And I was under the impression, I don't know why, but I was under the impression that Tatis still had 60 games left on his suspension. They gave him credit. He's got 20 games left on his suspension.
Oh, that's a game changer.
Yeah, I'm definitely keeping him now. I did not. I was seriously on the fence of going, I don't know about this, man. I can keep a dead weight on my team for 3 weeks. Now that's assuming he doesn't do something else stupid in the meantime. But if he does it, all I ask is that he does it before our draft.
Please and thank you.
Matt Olson has been red hot. He's got 3 home runs in the spring. Michael Harris has been hitting really well. Acuna, who is heading to the WBC along with Rosario, he's 6 of 13. Now, my only concern with him is, and I know it's early, so talk me off the ledge, but man, he's got no home runs. He's 6 of 13. They're all singles. I think he might have 1 double.
It's all right. Just getting on base.
He only had what 13, 14 home runs last year.
It's okay. Base pass shorter. He's getting singles, turns into a double. He's in scoring position. It's okay.
I need that guy to be a 40-40 guy, man.
I need him to not get hurt in the WBC, and I don't like him traveling over there. I don't know why you just don't shut that down, especially this is your superstar, and he's coming off injury. Man, I'm not happy if I'm the Braves front office, but apparently he's got the blessing, or I don't think.
Yeah, they signed off he is only going to play DH. I did see that being verified. They're not going to play the field. But does that matter? Because we've seen this dude the base pass. He's a maniac.
Yep. You don't shut a player like Acuna down when he gets on the base. I mean, the kid's going to play ball. And if there's an opportunity, he's going to go for it. And I'm scared he's going to get hurt. It's like, I mean, and this is a horrible example, but it's just the Max Fried rounding third and Washington sending him sliding head first into the plate. You're sitting there like, what in the world are you thinking, Ron? But that's exactly what is in my head right now.
I was waiting for you to finish your thought. I was about to say, do you remember Max Fried? And you and I screaming at each other via text going, the hell are they doing sending him? And Ron's over there waving him in. Let's go. Let's go.
Windmill Ron. Like, who cares if he's my ace starting? Like,
I can't even remember. Wasn't that pre-Buster Posey rule where they eliminated the catcher from having collisions? I feel like it was pre-Posey rule. It may not have been, but it feels like it in my head that we were worried about him getting because I remember he stuck his left arm out to tag the plate, and which is obviously his throwing hand. And you and I were going back and forth. And he just separated his shoulder and he's going to be done. Like, what are you doing? It's one run in the middle of May.
I feel like the Buster Posey rule happened when Olsen got steamrolled way back when, but that's just I'm dating myself as a Braves fan there. But, yeah. I'm nervous about Ron going to the WBC. That one makes me very nervous.
I'm kind of glad Rosario's going because I want to see him get back to form, and I feel like he's going to play more if he's at the WBC. And he's probably going to see better pitching, right? But yeah, I'm with you on.
If we're gonna send a DH, we got a couple of those we could have sent.
Yeah, can we send Ozuna?
And speaking of DH, how do you work that this year with Murphy and d'Arnaud? And you have to think one of them's you want your bats in your lineup. Where do you share your time with DH with the money you've got invested in Ozuna?
So David O'Brien wrote an article recently on The Athletic saying that he felt that Ozuna was going to be the DH, Rosario the left fielder. But in that same article, he mentioned d'Arnaud and Murphy taking turns behind the plate and at DH, which is what I think they're going to do more than not. I think what that means, and even though he says that they don't want Ozuna in the field, I think what that means is, and he's going to have to prove that he belongs on that team before we get anywhere close to October, or they'll just DFA him. Because once you get to the end of the season, if he's still stinking, Justin, at that point you're talking about just eating 1 year essentially, right?
Right.
But I think it means that he's going to play a platoon role with Rosario more often than not and be facing left-handed hitters. Man, he still has that same swing, that same just circular swing, uppercut, trying to drive the ball to the moon. And though I liked his approach last night in a couple at bats, he wasn't facing Chris Sale last night for the Red Sox. Okay. He was facing Tanner Hoke, and he had a couple of good at bats there. But then the pitchers that came in after that, I mean, we're talking about guys that aren't even going to be playing in the major leagues. And he looks like he's getting just outmastered.
I feel like he needs Ozzie Albies bat fitter, and whoever's given that guy his telephone poles needs to get Ozuna one, and that circular swing would just, I mean, the barrel of the ball at bat has to find the ball if you give him a big enough telephone pole. Because
can they switch bat? Can we get a bat to Ozzie that he can actually get around? He's hitting like, I think after last night, like 0.71 or 0.071. I mean, it's bad. Now look, I know it's. I'm not sweating about Ozzie. He'll be okay, I would hope. But when you essentially don't play for a year and then you go out there and you're hitting 0.71, you're like, oh man, this is gonna get cringeworthy. And they had him leading off because Acuna's in the WBC, and I'm like, man, Can you imagine something happens to Acuna again, and we got telephone pole up there leading off? And we're going to bookend it with Acuna at the bottom of the order. So those are back-to-back outs.
I've never been a fan of Albies up top of this roster. I think we've talked about that numerous times over the years, but middle half to the bottom and maybe get me around when he's hot. He's the get you. Back in the day when you had to surpass the pitcher spot, it worked really good. He could get you through that, but now that you don't even have that worry anymore, there's no way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you something else. And it's not even a slight on Ozzie. I'd rather have Ozzie towards the very bottom of the lineup for a couple of reasons. A, if he does get on and he comes back around, then you've got Acuna and whatnot trying to drive him in with his speed. Forget about it, right? The other thing is, if you can put a switch hitting bat at the bottom of that lineup, maybe not necessarily the ninth hitter or even the eighth, but I like him in the 6-7 hole, because now that we have the length that I think we have in this lineup, I mean, let's play this out in our head. Acuna lead off. It looks like they're going Olsen 2 and Riley 3. And then the number 4 hitter routinely this spring has been Murphy. I don't know if that'll change, because he's not typically in the lineup when d'Arnaud is in the lineup and vice versa. But let's just, for argument's sake, let's say it's Riley, and then I'm going to go d'Arnaud just because I know what we get out of him, and then Harris, and then Murphy. So you got right, left, right? So that takes you down to what, the number 6 hitter? I think that's the perfect place for Ozzie to sit there at number 7. And then your 8-9 is going to be whoever's playing left field and whoever's playing shortstop. And I'm a big fan of putting Grissom at 9, because with him being so young, let Acuna be on deck when he's when he's at the plate, right?
I have no qualms with that. I think
you're going to ask me, but that's what I want.
I don't think there's any weakness that you can, barring injuries changing that. We got to figure out the DH catcher swap up there. But let's just say it looks like what you laid out right there. You can't pitch around that, and you can't come in for 3 outs and not have to face a bad matchup. And that is what you want to build in the major leagues. You want a roster that adheres to the rules, top to bottom. You got to face or get your 3 outs, or you face your 3 batters, and you can't do that and have your matchups the way you want for any skipper in the league if you build this roster the way that you just laid that out.
And I also saw that I can't remember if you were on when I mentioned this, but right before we come on the show today, MLB The Show, and we all know it's a computer game, whatever. The number 1 ranked team in MLB The Show 2023 across the board is the Atlanta Braves. And I jotted down, what did I do with it? I jotted down their how they had us ranked. And pitching, we were 2nd. Speed, we were 9th. Power, we were number 1. I can't find the whole list. I'll have to. I thought I jotted it on my show sheet, but I must have written it down on a cocktail napkin or something. I don't know what I was doing. But anyways, that to me, I don't remember us ever being that. Like, we know we're good and we watch them, but the fact that MLB The Show has us ranked number 1 was the fact they had our pitching number 2 across the board, and that's taking into consideration your starters and your relievers. That's some good stuff right there.
That is some good stuff. That's a lot of depth and building on the back end, because I don't know if I'm as high on our pitching staff as number 2, but I do think the pop in this lineup is there. I have no qualms.
Here it is. I'm sorry. Here it is.
I'm still excited to see Murphy in Atlanta, and I think everybody listening is in for a treat when that gets unveiled. I think it's going to be amazing, the difference from the Coliseum to what he's going to have at Truist Park.
Contact, we were ranked 4th. Power 1st, speed 9th, pitching 2nd, overall 1st, defense 18th. And
I don't get the speed one.
I think our defense is much better.
You lost a lot with Dansby, though.
We did. Well, actually, now that I think about it, after the game I did last night, I did see Grissom boot one that was just, I mean, it looked like you and I trying to play Restaurant League softball out there. So that was a little concerning. But I'm thinking more of Acuna and Harris and Riley, who's solid, Murphy behind the plate, Olsen, who's a platinum glove winner, Ozzie, who's phenomenal in his own right. We do have that one questionable hole. I don't worry about left field because no one has a great outfielder in left field.
I think every defense is going to be in for that same realization this year, though. I think this switch rule is going to come into effect, and we're going to see some more offense this season. You're going to see small ball come back into play, and I think it's nice.
You know how everybody loved Charlie Culberson?
Yes.
I think they're going to have that same love affair with Kevin Pillar because he is playing this spring. I mean, he is playing some ball. He had a 2-run bomb last night, but more so than anything else, man, his base running is still there. He's stolen, I think, three bases this spring, and his defense is still solid. I really like me some Pillar to not only make the team. It might be Ozuna riding the pine versus lefties. It might be Pillar out there in left field.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to Acuna not seeing the field. I don't care about eating the money. I mean, I don't. It's a defensive liability, and he's either hot or not. And it's not hot enough right now that I'm going to take one of my other two bats out of the lineup and put him in there.
Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you have to eat it. I'm not opposed with holding on to him for half the year just to see if he can snap out of it, become a power hitter that he once was. I mean, it's 2020. He led the league. Now, I know it was a shortened season, but I'm not opposed to it. I know when you hear the manager say he's making the squad, you know that he's we're leaving Northport with him on the plane, right? My question is he still on the Braves plane Memorial Day? I think that's the biggest question. We got to take a super quick break. When we come back, we're going to give you our locks and give you an update on that Georgia Tech game. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD. Back in 90, baby. Keep it locked in here on the Key. Friday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day with Braves Country. The Atlanta Braves are in Fort Myers, Florida to take on the Boston Red Sox. Braves Country Baseball right here on the Key, giving you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. That's Friday, March 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern, St. Patty's Day, Braves Country on WQEE.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Welcome back. Taking you to the top of the hour, Brian Snow's show will take over. We go live 3 to 5 here every day here on the team. Make sure to get your morning started. Hot cup of coffee, Rhino Radio, 7 to 10 a.m. If you get up before then, Sports Map Radio overnight. Rod Peterson comes your way at noon to 2. Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge 2 to 3. Tomorrow is Thursday. We're going to be really in the thick of the tournaments by then. Georgia Tech ended up losing that game. Valiant effort trying to come back, but they just ran out of gas late. And let me see what the actual final score was, because it was right there on the in or out of covering. Did they cover? They lost by 8, 1 point. Ouch. I had Pittsburgh on the money line, but that was part of a parlay. Second part is UNLV, and I can't find that game anywhere. I'm starting to think that's not being televised. Or maybe it's on that True TV we're just talking about.
That one channel we don't have.
Got him. St. John's leads Butler 72-61. Once that game's gotten a little closer, it's 3 minutes left. I did hit a parlay earlier today. Davidson and Wake Forest on the money line. I've got I do a bunch of 2-team parlays for college basketball, especially this time of year. But man, I've been rolling here recently. When you're hot, do what?
I want to give credit to the ACC. I love the way they do their tournament. I like coming out the day earlier, and I hate that the SEC starts a day later and drags it till Sunday. I enjoy the weekday tournaments of the ACC. You wrapped up, you know what your final is by Friday night, and you can decide whether you want to consume your Saturday or not. And to me, that's enjoyable, and it's always made a fun work week being able to enjoy the ACC tournament going into March Madness. And yes, you get that with the SEC, but it's later in the week and only consists of Thursday, Friday, because let's face it, Wednesday night's games normally don't matter this season. It could be an upset coming out of one of tonight's winners. So a little bit different for the SEC tournament this year, but kudos to the ACC, because
as the SEC tournament, it's always finished on Sundays, hasn't it?
Yep. It starts late on Wednesday night with the essential play-in, and then it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, championship on Sunday.
That's Bethune-Cookman absolutely smoking Grambling. They're up by 22. So I could throw that parlay in the trash. I took one of those goofy parlays where you put way too many teams on it and just like a little bit of chump change on there just to kind of fill your day. And the first team on that nod was Bethune-Cookman getting 15.5, and they're not coming anywhere close to that. But that's how it goes down sometimes. St. John 76-61. Colorado leads Washington 60-57. 4 minutes left in that one. Those are the only games. Oh, I did find the UNLV game. I don't think it's on TV or any streaming device. It's 14-7 over Air Force in the first. You know how meaningless your conference tournament game has to be to not be on anything?
It's pretty bad.
I don't know if it's on some weird network that ESPN just refuses to share where it is, but they don't just, for instance, the St. Joe's game at 5:00 is going to be on USA Network. So they're not opposed to telling you what network it's on. But Air Force UNLV. We should have seen if we could have gotten the rights to that. Can I get up there the shaky iPhone and just broadcast the game? No one else has the rights. It's not like they can stop me.
The UNLV network.
What would stop me is I'm not really sure where that tournament's being played. UNLV, you would think Vegas would be hosting it, but if it's not on TV, I'm thinking they put that thing in Idaho or something.
Or it's in Pueblo at the Air Force Academy. Or down there close by.
I go over the
I don't
numbers.
know that it's quite in Pueblo, but it's close.
I go over the numbers in the morning to decide who I'm going to pick. I'd never look to see if it's being televised because I learned my lesson on that. Don't care if you can see it. Pick the numbers, right? I'm always disappointed when I go, what? It's not even, what? There's nothing? Not PBS? C-SPAN doesn't have this thing on? What's going on? What's your lock of the day?
Unfortunately, I'm going to predict an early exit from my Tennessee Volunteers. That's my lock. I think if South Carolina pulls off the win tonight, they knock them off again.
Okay. That point spread will be probably close to double digits too.
I'm going to take Carolina. Should they come through, I may change that, but I've got Tennessee with the early upset. I think they go on the first game. The defense is there, but who's going to score? And Vescovi hasn't shown down the stretch he's going to step up. The injury news this week really is a setback. So defense doesn't win championships in the NCAA, I don't believe. You need some point scorers. And this roster, man, they've played some great defense, but it's just offense isn't there.
My lock of the day is going to be 9 p.m. Eastern, Pac-12 network, so good luck trying to find it. But Stanford is a pick'em today against Utah, and I think Stanford is the better team, even though Utah has the better Pac-12 record. Utah plays much better at home, and this game is not at home. The game's in Las Vegas, so that tells me right there that other conference tournament, UNLV, is not being played in Vegas, unless it's being played in the parking lot. So that is my lock. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
Tennessee Titans, trade them all. Trade them all. Just complete everybody. Just trade them all.
Trade them all, and I'll send you some Duval shirts. Come over to the dark side.
Just trade them all, man. I'm tired of it. Just trade them all.
All right, we got to jam out of here. We go live 3 to 5 tomorrow. We'll have Joey with us and Steven and Doug. We're going to be talking some fantasy baseball. Brian Snow's next. Keep it locked in here on The Key.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Are you looking for...
Friday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day with Braves Country. The Atlanta Braves are in Fort Myers, Florida to take on the Boston Red Sox. Braves Country Baseball right here on The Key, giving you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. That's Friday, March 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern, St. Patty's Day, Braves Country on WQEE.